Welcome to seminar number 5, start of the winter semester. I just want to wrap up how this semester is going to go and just some of the common questions that we need to answer. But mainly we're going to be re-evaluating what we need for winter to gain admission. That's our main goal, is to finish the Fresh Start program and to gain that admission. We're going to look at cognitive strategies. There's still some assignments to go. We're going to be looking at applications and when to submit those and how the university is doing it now. Scenario planning and considerations. This is going to be the big one on how to calculate your full term GPA and also what that means, what you need for winter, and what that looks like for finishing Fresh Start and for gaining admission. During the live seminar we had a Q&A that's closed down, so you'll see a survey pop up every once in a while, but if you have any questions, direct them to the F-Start email, and then we'll wrap up. We're going to have a quick look at the winter term assignment. So finishing off cognitive strategies, if you jump into cognitive strategies, you should be able to find, I pull it over, jump into your cognitive strategies, scroll down, you've got all the modules here, and it's just at the very bottom here, you have winter term module, winter term, open it up, and you'll have a list of all your assignments there. And that's it. You can find them all in there. All of the dates are still going. The activity schedule is still accurate. Follow that. Check all of these off as you finish them. They're all located here. You could also find them in your grades as well. There's still 25% outstanding. No one's passed the online course yet. You'd be very close. You've only attempted 75%. So there's still a few more to go. But these here are all helpful. Goal setting. It's a great way to start the semester, analyzing a course syllabus, raising our standards of knowing what each course is really about. We can learn a lot of information that professors don't give in that first week. We can learn a lot about our course from there. The calendar assignment, again, time management is a big strategy that needs to be completed, and this one here just gives you that forcing function to get you to do it. And you get points for it. You're going to do this anyway, so make sure you submit it. And then we've got a few other ones. We've got some new ones about transformative survey. This one here is a graphic organizer, but just in the context of reading a chapter. Being resourceful is about reflecting on the resources you've used and how you found them helpful or what you would do differently. Reflection is looking a bit more big picture. What have you learned about yourself and your experience of being at university, and how would you share that information with a student entering university or a student entering Fresh Start? Coming in, a lot of students have certain feelings, and then leaving they have different feelings. They're literally transformed, and we just want to capture that. We want to give you a chance to think. Eamon's story from Seminar 2 last year, this is how we found her, was her sharing her story with us. And we get students like this all the time, and so we'd love to hear your story as well. And it's a great experience for you to see how far you've come. And finally, final exam planning. Okay, everyone wants to be doing this. We're just going to give you marks for doing it. Let's get back to application for admission. This one here is going to be a little bit tricky. It's being done a little bit differently. It is online that the university is doing. You just come to the U of A homepage. You'll say undergraduate studies. Scroll down just a little bit and you'll be able to begin your application here. Scroll down a little bit more, start the application. It's going to ask you to identify yourself. Are you a Canadian student? Are you an international student? This is just separating fee structure. Everyone should be clicking the yellow. You are currently attending. So you're just going to click that, and then you're going to register your account. This here is you must register an account. This program is called Launchpad. This is built in, so it's just creating an account where you're going to be able to create your applications in the future. So you have to register with your email, your first name, last name, and your birth date, and they're just going to match this up with your CCID. What will happen next is you will get you'll fill this in, you'll register, and you'll get an email with your username, and you'll get a link that you'll be able to go back and enter a PIN number, and this will confirm your account. You'll create a new password, and you'll be good to go. From there, you then just can log in now. Every time you go to the apply website, you'll just be able to log in, and that will take you to your applications. when you first go here, there will be nothing here. I started an application. I was going to show you the full application, but it actually gives all of my personal information, so I didn't want to share all of that. So I just clicked Start New Application, and from there you'll be able to fill in every single section. What we're learning is that there is some interesting terminology in here, and there is the academic standing section asks you to calculate your grades. What we want you to do is, if you have any questions or you find anything confusing about filling in that form, contact Student Connect. You can call them on the phone in the moment or during office hours, which is 8:30 to 4:30 and on the campus during the winter, or even just get your application as complete as possible and then go to the administration building, bring your laptop, and then just sit down and just do this with the Student Connect. I think this can be the best way just to get it all sorted out and done. I'd highly recommend, one of the options we're going to be looking at when we look at scenarios is submitting an application for more than one faculty. If you're thinking about different majors, talk to the faculty. That still may just be one application. I would encourage you to find out if there's specific competitive GPAs for different majors. It may even be in your best interest to apply undeclared. If you're applying for faculties, two faculties, that's two separate applications. For example, Science and Commerce, that's two. But if you're looking at Bachelor of Science General or Bachelor of Science Specialization, that might just be one. So just talk to the faculty about what that looks like and how many applications you may have if you have to submit a separate one. Yeah, and consider applying for more than one, just a backup, and even consider applying for, just because of the competitive nature of faculties, it might be worthwhile submitting an application for a university outside the U of A. We'll ignore this. This was the in-class questionnaire that we had. Scenarios. What we're going to do is we want to be able to make a good decision about whether or not I should be withdrawing, or how I should go about continuing this winter, depending on our fall scenario and what we need for winter. We want to have some information just to be able to make good choices. Some students may decide, and I've already had students come into the office saying, look, I'm going to stop right now. I didn't do very well. I need to sort out things in my life to figure this out, and I'm just going to stop. What does that look like? And we can discuss those options, and then they can make an informed decision about continuing or withdrawing. So let's have a look at these. What we need is we need the full term GPA. We already have this information. We know what our requirement is for Fresh Start. We may have forgotten, but we can remind ourselves right now. We need to know the admission requirement. We may have to estimate this. Maybe a faculty can tell us. There is no list online that can tell us what it's going to be. We may have to go call the department, call the faculty office, or just go into the faculty student services office and just see what is the historical GPA, competitive GPA that I need to meet for admission, and then we can calculate what we need for winter. A quick example of this will be, let's say a student got 1.8 for Fresh Start, they need a 2.0. For competitive GPA, they need a 2.3. We can then calculate what they would need in winter to meet this requirement. This is what they need to improve to. Here they're a little bit below what they need. So what would they need this winter to pull their full term up to a total GPA of 2.3? And we're just going to be looking at calculating that and just some examples to get you on your way. Okay. All right, let's have a look at fall. To calculate fall, you just have to go to your transcript in Beartracks, and you'll be able to look at the totals down here. And all we do is we take grade points divided by units taken. Here is 27.9 grade points divided by, here the stat grade wasn't back, so I just did it by the 3. So I just did it by 9, how many they had. So once this grade comes back, the student will be able to do it divided by 12. Again, grade point 17.1, grade points earned divided by units taken will give you the average 1.9. It's calculated to 2 decimal places, but it rounds up to 1. And again, grade points divided by units taken. Okay. Let's refresh ourselves. Now that we know how to calculate our fall GPA, let's have a quick look at what our requirements were for admission for Fresh Start. If you are in the Faculty of Arts, your requirement is the same for admission and for Fresh Start. It's just 2.0. So if you had a 0 in fall, you need to pull yourself up to a 2.0. You would need a 4.0 GPA to pull your GPA, your average up to 2.0. If you had a 1.0 GPA, you'd need to have a 3 in winter to pull your GPA average up to a 2, to finish at the end of winter with a 2. A 2 just stays the same, and if you had a 3.0 in fall, you actually only need to maintain a 1.0 GPA to average out at the end of the year with a 2. To calculate this for any number in between, you're just going to say take your requirement, which is in this case for arts students. If you're applying back to arts, you just take your 2.0 requirement, subtract your full GPA. So if you were a 1.3, you would say 2.0 minus 1.3 is 0.7, then add the requirement again, and that would be 2.7. So that student that was 1.3 in fall for winter must be 2.7 to pull their whole average up to 2.0. Another scenario, this is for students that were not in the faculty arts, that were in nursing, education, native studies, science, faculty of ALS, kinesiology, any of those students that chose to take less than 24 credits, so they took 3 and 3, or they're taking 3 and 4, or 4 and 3, whatever variation of 6 or 7 courses for the fall, you need for Fresh Start, the requirement was 2.7 GPA, and most likely a faculty would be around that too. So we're just going to do this scenario on faculty requiring 2.7 for admission. It may be different depending on the faculty, but just in this situation we'll do 2.7. If you had a 0 in fall, then you would need a 5.4 GPA to achieve a 2.7 overall. So as you know, that's not possible. Same for a 1.0 GPA. Once we get down to a 2, if you were 2, you would need a 3.4 in winter to finish with a 2.7. So we need to be much higher to pull our GPA up, to pull our average up overall. So we need to be quite a lot above where we need it to be. So if you were a 3, then you just need to be a little bit below to maintain that. Again, take your requirement, subtract your GPA from the fall, add the requirement again. So we just need to know the little difference between the two. So if you're 1 point, even let's say we're just saying 2.3. If you were 2.3 and you must be 2.7 by the end of winter, if you're 2.3, 2.7 minus 2.3 is 0.4, add 0.4 onto your requirement, and that's 3.1. We would need to be 3.1 for winter term, average 3.1 for the average for the winter would boost your overall average to meet the requirement of 2.7 for Fresh Start and admission. Our final scenario is all those for any other faculty other than arts that were taking 24 credits. What do you need? Now we don't know what the competitive GPA is for the faculty. We're going to have a look at that next and just estimate and just look at a couple of different competitive GPAs. But for Fresh Start, the requirement is 2.0 if you're taking 24 credits. If you had a 0, you need a 4, 1, 3, 2. We can just still get that 2.0 minus your fall GPA, add 2.0 back to it, and that's what you need for the winter. Let's have a quick look at some scenarios for competitive GPAs. If your fall was any of these, you can just cross-reference that with the competitive GPA. It's quite common that the minimum competitive GPA is around 2.3. Some faculties are very competitive and you might need a 2.7. Some are even more competitive than that, and you might need 2.9 or 3.0. So we can see just in here, in your situation, if you calculated your full GPA, you could see that this is what you would need in these scenarios. Okay, now we've got this information. We've got a target GPA we need for winter. What are some of the things we might need to be doing? We've got our information. We've calculated what we need for winter. I added in a few more scenarios here. You can quickly have a quick look. If you're just below that too, what do you really need? But what we want to look at is, okay, what are my next step? I've got this information. I've got this target. Okay, I got to improve a lot. How am I going to make my choices? What is my decision going to be? So if you're on that lower end and you're finding that you're having to hit a 3.4 or a 3.9 GPA, and you're trying to improve from a 1, between a 1 and a 2, there's a lot to consider. And one of those considerations is the opportunity cost of fees. Saving that money and putting that towards education somewhere else. take the RTW. What would happen is if you stopped right now and you withdraw from your winter semester and you didn't spend any money on tuition, you took that money that you were going to spend on tuition and you saved it and you spent it in the full term. You applied to another school, maybe a community college, maybe a NATE or a SATE or something like that, that you can find that you can enter into with 2 RTWs. That could be a viable option to consider your education. Yes, you would get an RTW on your transcript. Yes, you would have to wait if you wanted to come back to the U of A. You'd have to wait, depending on the faculty, they'll be able to tell you how long you'd have to wait. But it could be an option if it looks like you have to improve so much that it's not realistic. You could save that money and put it somewhere else, and take this time to sort out the other parts of your life that are impacting your ability to do well right now. Another one is to spread out the GPA over more courses. So everyone in the Fresh Start program is allowed to take 1 or 2 spring courses through Open Studies Fresh Start to help them improve their GPA, or just for extra credits that they can add on to their degree. It's not, it helps you to avoid the main purpose of taking these. If, for example, those students that were needing the 2.7 GPA and they only took 18 to 21 credits, taking a spring course brings you back, in the eyes of Open Studies Fresh Start, brings you back to 24 credits. So that moves your GPA from 2.7 down to 2.0 to avoid that RTW. So that's really helpful for improving, giving you a chance to meet that lower GPA to avoid the RTW. It does not count for admission to the faculty though, so it will help for Fresh Start, but it will not be included in your admission, so you'd still have to meet that competitive GPA for the faculty that you're applying to. So that is a challenge. This here means students get into a situation where they didn't get an RTW, but they also didn't get admission, so they're not taking courses at the U of A next year. So you'd have to be prepared to submit an application somewhere else too, with a positive academic standing. We want to be taking that spring course. Spring registration opens in the middle of February. I think it's around February 15th, 16th. You'll be given, in Beartrix, you get access again, and you can just register. You don't have to submit any applications for spring. You're able to do it through your current application, Open Studies Fresh Start, and you'll be able to register after that middle of February mark. Get into one. Just in case, because you're not going to know your grades as they're coming through. Spring courses start the first week of May. The add drop deadline for the first week of May, I think, is like if the classes start on Monday, they're very fast moving classes. The add drop deadline is like Friday. Like, you get a few days to decide. If you get your grades back, you can start thinking, oh, I don't need it. I met my 2.7 mark, or I'm going to take this course and I'm going to go for the 2.0 at that point. It can lead to a late notification for admission. Academic standing will have to wait. It won't be calculated till after that spring course is finished and that grade is in, which could just delay the process just a little bit, which only puts you at a disadvantage for registering classes if your admission goes through. But that's a small price to pay if it helps you to avoid the RTW. If you're going to go for this, if you've decided, you know what, I'm in a tough spot, I have to improve my GPA a lot, 2 to 3 times, then we've got to start using the resources on campus. We've got to start asking for help more frequently. And one of the best things you can do is to join an accountability program, and you can do that through 2 ways. You can do it through our SAS, our Sessions for Accountability and Study Strategies. You can do this. You'll be able to email Fresh Start. I think I had sent out the email. They're starting to fill up now. I sent it out. You can just look in your email for Act Quickly. SAS is back for the winter term. These are the dates. If it works for you, perfect. You can use it. Email Fresh Start with your name. Look for that email and just respond to that email. You're going to get strategies. You're going to practice the actual study strategies too. A lot of the times we practice them and we find we're not doing them very well, and so we just give up on them pretty quickly. These are skills that need to be practiced. So we get a little bit of practice, but we also get a a teacher that's there that is a learning specialist that can help us with the learning problems that we're coming up against, and can help us set goals, make plans, and reflect and adapt our study strategy. We will evolve as a student much faster than if we try to do this on our own. Again, if those terms don't work with you, you can make your own version of this. And I had about 8 to 10 students do this last year. They just met with me. They just used my calendar, and they just booked a weekly appointment that fit their schedule every single week, and they just showed up, and for 30 minutes we talked about what do they need to get done that week. They tell me they plan to do all of that, and then I can offer some feedback on being a little bit clearer, or that may not work because you're not clear enough on this goal. You need a location and a time, or try it this way around. And then I can help with the reflection as they're talking out loud. They're making adaptations and adjustments to what they're going to do more of, what they're going to do less of, and just become a sounding board and more of a coach in that way of fine-tuning their weekly execution plan. And then we can talk about any specific strategies or resources they might need to, and we can get that in time, just in time sort of learning that okay, this is happening right now, and I can go talk to this person much faster than if we could just put it off and we're trying to do this on our own. So you have access to my calendar, and you can do that. You can go in there right now and just book 8 appointments in a row if you want to, 1 per week, and just come in and we just talk about what's the plan. Okay, how are you going to do it? Great, go do it, come back and show that you did it. And it just helps you be accountable to somebody else, not just yourself. Finally, if there's more going on in your life, Ashley Luker is our registered social worker and our access consultant. She's going to be a huge resource for helping you to navigate the other parts of your life that are impacting your ability to do well academically. So her job is to help you access and use resources on campus so that you can perform at your best. You can contact her. The email is in our e-class. You'll be able to find it there. People speak highly of their experiences with her. Consider the opportunity cost. Finish cognitive strategies. It's still going. There's still assignments to do. They're all helpful. Whether you get the points for them or not, they're help to keep you focused on what's happening at that time in the semester. Remember to submit your applications before March 1st. Use Student Connect, use the telephone number, or go into the administration building for any questions regarding your application, as it can be a little bit confusing. And finally, remember to ask questions. A lot of people are nervous about asking for help. A lot of the people that I'm seeing right now that are in difficult situations are students that are fully admitting, I did not ask for help. This is the first time I'm seeing you. And that's absolutely true, and they're not doing well. And they need to do better. And so they're asking questions. They're asking, okay, what do I need to do? Right? This is all we need to do. This is the first step. If you can get over that fear, if you can get over that embarrassment, then we're here to help. If you want to stop right now, we will help you. If you want to keep going, then you've seen it. We've got the strategies. We will help you implement and come up with a system that gets you through this and gets you the best chance to achieve the grades you need to achieve. Okay? Great. That's all from me. Answer the questions below this and submit the reflection as well. All right. Bye.